It is now in order to consider Amendment Number 8, printed in Part B of House Report 112-616. For what purpose does the gentlewoman from California seek recognition?
Madam Chairwoman, I have an amendment at the desk, Richardson Amendment Number 8, regarding H.R. 4078, the Regulatory Freeze for Jobs Act of 2012.
Okay. The clerk will designate the amendment.
Amendment Number 8, printed in Part B of Report Number 112-616, offered by Ms. Richardson of California.
Pursuant to House Resolution 738, the gentlewoman from California, Ms. Richardson, and a member opposed, each will control 5 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentlewoman from California.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman, and I'd also like to extend thanks to Chairman Smith and Ranking Member Conyers for having their hard work brought to fruition here on this legislation. The Richardson Amendment would allow the government to take significant regulatory action if and when the monthly national unemployment rate is above 6%, thereby allowing for the action and proper implementation of the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act and the health provisions of the Health Care and Education Reconciliation Act of 2010. The sponsors of H.R. 4078 suggest that the legislation will promote job growth. I argue that the Affordable Care Act, when fully implemented, will promote job growth, support economic growth, and spur a deficient reduction in our economy in terms of the deficit that we currently are experiencing. My amendment is intended to ensure that the adequate health care through the Affordable Care Act can be fully implemented. Because so many Americans rely upon their employers to have access to health care, high levels of unemployment can leave many of our U.S. citizens uninsured and underinsured. When the monthly unemployment rate is above 6%, as this nation has unfortunately incurred for approximately 2 years now, that is the very time, I would argue, that our government was created to assist the U.S. citizens and all those who obviously need health care. A strong economy needs healthy workers. There is a common and persistent misconception that the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act will pose an undue burden on small businesses and limit job creation, but this is absolutely untrue.
I will tell you that in Arkansas, they tell me they support it, and they certainly do not support Obamacare. I would also point out, Madam Chair, that the NFIB, the premier small business organization in America, supports the bill. It is estimated that Obamacare will require nearly 160 new boards, bureaus, bureaucracies, and commissions. Overall, the federal government will issue roughly 10,000 pages of new regulations to implement the so-called health care reform. Yet this amendment would exempt these regulations from Title I of the Regulatory Freeze for Jobs Act. At a time when we should be working to repeal Obamacare and replace it with patient-centered health care reform, this amendment simply makes no sense. And I would also point out, Madam Chair, that if there are regulations that the Obama administration wants to see proceed through the process, well, they can certainly send them to Congress and see if we will approve them. We can take a look at them, see if they make sense, see if they do what they intend, and see if it's right for the country. For these reasons, I oppose this amendment. I reserve the balance of my time.
Gentleman reserves.
Madam Chair, how much time do I have remaining?
You have 2 minutes and 15 seconds remaining.
Okay. Madam Chairwoman, I'm convinced that President Obama does care. But today I'm here to talk about the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act. And regarding that act, I think it's important to note that this amendment is not simply a blanket exemption, but rather it deals with when unemployment exceeds 6%, which for those American people, that many of which I represent, who have struggled to no fault of their own to be able to gain employment, this is a significant exemption that's needed. Madam Chairwoman, when we look at the implementation of the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act, it passed this body in Congress, it passed the body in the Senate, it was signed into law, and now it's been upheld in the Supreme Court of the United States. Health care reform is finally here to stay, and the time has come for us to commit ourselves and our attention and our efforts in this Congress to wholeheartedly support its enactment, and where changes and revisions and improvements need to be made, we have an opportunity to do so. The Richardson Amendment I bring forward today does not obligate additional funds to address health care reform, but it would simply give the federal government the freedom that we all believe in to pursue all available options in the future, especially in the greatest times of need. My amendment ensures that the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act is implemented without adding time and cost-consuming procedural burdens. I urge my colleagues to join me in supporting the Richardson Amendment number 8 and to reaffirm this nation's commitment to provide the basic necessity. Certainly, I think that equates to the level of the right to a pursuit of happiness, of which this American country was built upon. With that, I yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman yields back. Gentleman from Arkansas is recognized.
I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. The question is on the amendment offered by the gentlewoman from California. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. No. In the opinion of the chair, the noes have it by one vote. The amendment is not agreed to.
Madam Chair, I ask for a recorded vote.
Pursuant to Clause 6 of Rule 18, further proceedings on the amendment offered by a gentlewoman from California will be postponed.